Happy Pride Month, everybody, and in the spirit, I am going to be doing something that a lot of you may not enjoy, but if you came here for my personality, that's really all you're going to get. Now, I should probably address the fact that I haven't been here in a while. My brother made a video about it a few days ago, and he's kind of spot on. For me personally, there have been a few videos that I have missed. Eh, it's mostly because the website that I was using, I didn't want to start dipping into my catalogs too much. I didn't want to have to go into the archives and just go back through older videos. I wanted to have something new, but unfortunately, nothing was posted for about 5.5 days until recently earlier today. Few episodes of a certain series were added, but they are not within my range of stuff that I'm okay with covering. Yeah, it hit one of those 5 categories that I personally do not enjoy. The one that rhymes with grape. Now, that being said, this one's a lot more topical. Well, mainly for the reason that. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there are two things about me at the moment. Number one, I'm missing my lab coat. Oh, like I normally would be wearing. Now, I can explain that. IRS has been looking a little heavily on your boy, and they don't exactly take too kindly to you collecting unemployment while also buying Gucci clothes. Now, that being said, I think I can have it back within the next week. It's just going to take a lot of fighting and a big flag with a sharp stick at the end of it. Now, the second thing is I started out with Happy Pride Month, and that is me telling you that, hi, my name is Dr. Doujinshi, and I am called that for a reason. I am openly bisexual, and it is fucking fun. Now, on that level, I'm going to be doing a review of a certain one that is kind of pissing me off because it's literally the only, true yaoi that I could find on the site. Now, I know there's a ton of Yuri, but that's an easy target. Like, seriously. It's easier to find hentai with chicks with dicks nailing other chicks with dicks. It's easier to find mid-transition and X mid-transition than it is to find gay. I don't know what that's saying, but apparently there needs to be more yaoi on sites like this. Because so far I've only found like 3, and they're all on different websites. Like they all just had custody of that one kid that they liked. Now that being said, let's get into the review because I've spent about 3 minutes rambling and I am tired as fuck, but I have a good personality so you wouldn't know. Now, the series is, oh, that's a lot of O's.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
Shut the fuck up, Siri. Now, the series itself is called...
I didn't get that.
Hold up. Shut the fuck up, Siri. Shut up, Siri. Hush. My brother got a new phone, and it has a mouth. That being said, this show is called Otokonoko Delivery. There's only 1 episode at the moment. Now that being said, it's done by a studio that I actually haven't covered yet. I'm pretty sure, at least. Otodeli is the studio that covers it. I'm not 100% sure what their filmography has been built into, but I will do a little bit more research if they ever pop up again. Which is why I write this stuff down, so that if I see them again, I might be able to figure it out and see if I can notice anything special. Looking at you, Queen Bee. Really easy to fucking find you guys. Now, this is a relatively short one, only being a single episode and only having 19 minutes to its name. And itself only being on 9 categories, so it's not exactly the most well-arranged, but if you're looking in yaoi, you've probably already got specific tastes you're looking for. Now, the synopsis of the entire series itself is a guy is looking for entertainment while he's on a business trip in a hotel. Now, as he's in that trip, he finds a pamphlet that's advertising a local brothel, and the brothel gets called. The guy who manages the calls ends up sending the text out to two different people at the same time by accident. And the more experienced and the newer of the two. The more experienced person, they both go, they get into their costumes, and they go up there. The more experienced one makes it their way first, and the newer one is a little bit slower behind and ends up getting, like, he doesn't get there first. So he's just sitting outside the window like, hey, is that the guy I was supposed to... Oh, that's somebody else. Oh, that's somebody else. That is our business card, so I guess I just got here. I'm going to wait out here and hope that nobody notices me. This is awkward. That sort of thing. Now, that happening itself, the more experienced of the two and the businessman himself, they go up to their room. Sexy time happens. But with probably one of the most memed scenes I've seen, at least in some hentai. You know that there's one meme that you see at least on shorter videos where it's like, where it's like, you're really cute, and the guy's like reaching down and like grabbing underneath the skirt. There's something growing in here. That's my dick. What the f-? And then they freak out. Like, if you're wondering where that came from, it comes from this. Now, that being said, and after they hook up, they leave, and the guy who is hiding out, the newer of the two, is hiding outside the hotel waiting for the other one to come down, and then puts two and two together and realizes, hey, that's the same bag that somebody I go to high school with sees. Everybody in this is above the age of 18, and I will fight you if you say otherwise. I'm celebrating Pride Month. I am not okay with pedophilia. Some people deserve to get lit on fire, and it is those people in particular. This is all legal. Get it? Got it. Now, that being said, after that, the newer of the two confronts the more experienced, and the more experienced person kisses him and tells him, like, hey, we can work together. At least let's have a closer relationship. Those two hook up immediately. I gotta say, if you gotta work as like an escort or professional, you're a prostitute. I'm just gonna say, if you're working as a prostitute, you probably shouldn't go around like easily, unless you're like really good at your job and you enjoy the shit out of it. Then I don't think going around just fucking dudes would be like a good business model. That's like if you worked at a department store, it's like, oh, it's Thanksgiving, everybody gets a turkey, everybody gets a turkey, everybody gets a turkey, but every third person, you just give them a free turkey. Like, what the fuck? That's not a good business model. Now, that being said, after the two hook up and have one of my lesser scenes in it, mostly because it involves something that I'm not exactly... It's not a turn on. That is when two guys try to do what a guy and a girl do, but nobody is turned around. It's weird. I don't know why it just never was appealing to me. Now that happens. They hook up and they realize, hey, that last guy, he was also kind of interested in seeing if another person would show up, and was wondering, hey, if he could come over and help out next time he calls. Oh, that'd be fun. They're like, okay. Which immediately just cuts to them all like waiting in front of the businessman from earlier, and then it gives them an excuse to hook up. It has like the most lengthy of the sex scenes that eventually ends with them being like, oh, that was awesome. Yeah, that was so cool. Cool. And then they're all like falling asleep, and then it cuts to the next scene of the guy standing in front of his hotel with his bag and a phone, getting a message from the brothel that says, hey, prices are negotiable. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The guy stretches out, and then scene ends. The show's over. And that was Otokonoko delivery and what I thought of it into my 4-point review section that I've been copy pasting this entire time. The animation, it's not anything special. It's definitely serviceable. I wouldn't call it a 5. It wouldn't be like a dead center. There were some moments in it that had like a little bit of dynamic quality, but there was nothing like over the top. It's a solid 6 out of 10 when it comes to animation quality, at least within this genre. Now, the characters, the two professionals of them they were fun. They just had like an energy to them that was just like, oh, we're chipper, we're happy, we're up for what's going on. And I was like, oh, man, they like their job. Good for those guys. But the businessman was really just blank slate across there, and there weren't really any other characters. So I'd give it a 7 out of 10 just for like creating an atmosphere of like these characters are playful and they're fun to be around instead of like, we're here for a job. Give me money. Opens mouth. Let's get to this. Like that's not how you make a character. This, decent doing it, but stale on a lot of points. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. It's midway. It's above average, but nothing special. Now the content itself is where I'm a little bit more biased. The content itself is relatively varied for only having 9 categories when you look it up. That being pretty much anything you'd think a gay hookup would be. The ones where there's no penetration and the characters are still having a fun time. The one where 2 tips touching, and which wasn't. That's probably the reason I took a point off, because that's not really one of my things. That's a personal preference, though. You can add or subtract a point depending on it. And then there's the final scene, which really elevates it to what it does best, because it kind of gives off the best of what each character can do. And just overall, it has a lot of content in that last little bit that kind of makes up for anything else. So I'd give the content section of this a definite 9 out of 10. And just that one scene pushes it a little below. And probably the way that it's layered up. They put like the mid scene first, the lowest of the scenes, and then the highest of the scenes. Why not put the lowest first, then the middle, then the high? So it was just escalating in quality. But then again, that'd be a turnoff to anybody who would like just start it. But it's a criticism I feel like would be there regardless of which way it was posted. Now, that being said, doing the math, overall, I would give this a 7 out of 10. And overall, just an average across the board, 7 out of 10. Above average, but not special above average. Average. I would recommend this to anybody who's at least not too straight. But if you're a lot more lenient on the whole thing, then I wouldn't recommend this to like people who are like dead center, flat, straight, nothing. There's no curve in it whatsoever. But if you're not super, or at least questioning a little bit, this is a good starting point. The characters are feminine enough to where you can actually identify with them as female, but you can still have that denial in your head. But then again, if you're like, all right, those are dudes, you're gonna have fun across the board. All right. And a little title that I found out is not copyrighted, but I'm going to take. Now that I've taken this, I will begin to focus more on things that I enjoy. Things that may be controversial to others, but I myself am held to a higher standard. As of today, I, Dr. Doujinshi, am crowning myself the king of traps. Title's mine, you can't have it. I've copyrighted it. I will sue you. Until next time, I have been the doctor. Hopefully I'll get my lab coat back from the IRS, and for anybody who's wondering, yes, we will be back on doing this. Yes. If another video comes out in Pride Month, don't really expect something that's Pride related, mostly because it's hard as shit to find genuine yaoi. Anyway, hell, maybe I'll do a lesbian one. So, until the next one, I have been the Doctor signing out. Happy Pride Month. If you're having a nice time, stay safe, stay inside, don't cough on people, wash your hands or I'll cut them off, and Black Lives Matter. Have a nice day.